Luis Garcia joins us. We'll be hearing from Luis in a moment. Craig, if I'm a Man United fan, he's saying exactly what I want to hear, isn't he?
Well, in some sense, yes. In another sense, no. Talking about it's probably not about new players. It's about these players being better. No, it's about, these players, most of them need to be better, but their better is not good enough to be back in amongst the Champions League and the Premier League. Rob Dawson's talking about Premier League and Champions League. That's not even a thought at the moment. It's not. So there's so much work to do there, and he's, everybody's brighter and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in pre-season, aren't they? Everybody. Well. Everybody.
I don't know.
Just look at me. Everybody's positive, mainly, and getting results because the games are not quite as competitive. And listen, if it's not about new players, why have they signed Mbemo and Cunha? And there's probably more going to have to come in. So it is about new players, but it's also about attitude, which I think a lot of their players were very poor in that department, and hence some of them are on what we call the naughty step, whether we agree with that or not. But it's going to be an interesting watch where Man United are, how competitive they're going to be, and how much brighter they are, how much more competitive they are within 90 minutes of a Premier League game against not Liverpool and Arsenal and teams like that, because they're not at that level, not even close. But how are they going to be against the other, 14 or 15 in the Premier League that are average? We're going to find out this season.
I think Amorim is saying all the right things to your point.
Yeah, I thought so as well, Shaka. Shut up, Craig.
Yeah,
but did he not say we don't need new players?
No, but
well, what's else he going to say?
Point,
he can't say, I need a whole new squad, this little rubbish.
Well, everybody knows that.
Well, but he can't say it.
Why can't you say it?
Why can't you say it?
He's already told what...
Look at all this. Have you seen them? They're awful.
Well, that's the same guy. When he went to Fulham, came out and said, I'd rather play the bus driver than Marcus Rashford. He's not scared about upsetting players. Everybody knows they need players.
Everybody outside of that dressing room, well, everybody knows it, but everybody outside the dressing room has the freedom to say it. I don't think Ruben Amorim has any choice but to believe in this squad of players, or at least say that he believes in this squad of players. And yes, he's made
there's not a man alive believes in this squad of players.
But
if you've watched him play.
As the Manchester United manager, he has to say, he's like, listen, this squad is good enough, all it needed was a culture change, and we're establishing that. That is exactly what any manager in that position would do. Manchester United are also having a good preseason. It's preseason, I know. But when you finish 15th, you cannot afford to have a poor preseason.
Right.
Coming into the season.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Right. All I'm saying is, in terms of turning Manchester United around, terms of turning them around, they had to have a good preseason. And they're doing that. So they're taking steps in the right direction. Now, again...
Some teams have a good pre-season and then they're crap.
It
really doesn't matter.
I totally understand
imagine they lost to Bournemouth, they lost to West Ham.
Exactly.
We'd all be sat here piling on. We're not saying they're going to win the league. What we're saying is...
Why would we pile on? It's pre-season. It's like the Club World Cup.
Come on. If West Ham beat them 5-0, you wouldn't be sat here with any sort of a different...
Of
course you would.
Never mind us. Never mind what we have to say. How does that dressing room feel, given they finished last season? Then you go and lose to Bournemouth and lose 5-0 to West Ham as per your example. I don't think that does the team any good at all. Now, everybody knows it's part of the business. Players are going to come and go. You're going to be linked with players. You're going to sell others. That's regardless of whether you finish 15th as Manchester United did or whether you finish top of the league like Liverpool did. And look how much they spent. That's a part of the game. I just think Amorim is doing the best that he can. Now, again, all that being said, for as much praise as I'm putting on Amorim, I still don't think Manchester United are good enough to finish 8th at best. But in terms of what he's doing with what he's got, this has been a very good preseason for him.
What do you mean what he's doing? What is he doing? You're saying you're praising Amorim. Praising him for what? He was abysmal last year. And these players that he's so-called protecting, they tried to bury him last year. I mean, he could easily have lost his job. Easily. United could have cut him loose.
In terms of this preseason, I don't think he can do anything more.
No,
he's saying what he has to say, doing what he can with what he's got.
I don't disagree. But these same players almost buried him last year, right? He's got a couple of new ones. And pre-season is pre-season. Yeah, if they lost to whoever, I don't even know who they've played. With no interest, right? Because it's pre-season. And yeah, if they'd lost, we'd have talked about it, or you guys would have talked about it, whoever was in talked about it, because there's not a lot else going on. But it doesn't change the narrative. It matters nothing whether you have a bad pre-season or a good pre-season. When the bell goes at the start of the season, that's where it matters. And that's where Ruben Amorim is going to find out if some of these players that were slack-ass last year, if we're being honest, and I'm being nice, and played poorly, and almost buried them, we'll find out whether the 2 or 3 new ones can change the attitude. We'll find out.